Hey guys, here's a story. It's about McDonald's. I used to work there. I was a cashier, which means whenever you came in to order your food, I had to deal with you. This wasn't always bad, sometimes it was actually entertaining. Like this one time, a dude came in and ordered a cookie. And I guess he was doing a dare because as soon as we gave him the cookie, he took a bite and started yelling. At first, I was like, the hell is going on? Am I about to get shot over a cookie? Then I realized he was singing the cookie's praises and asking to know who made it. We did not tell him. We waited until he left and laughed about it, which became kind of a normal thing after a while. There was another guy, an older gentleman, that came into McDonald's thinking it was Burger King, and for some reason went into my line, even though the other two had no people and I had like 10 customers, which happened all the time and made my managers stop putting people on register with me. Anyways, this guy waits in my line, ignoring my coworkers' attempts to get him over to their register like he was on the dark side and they were in the light. It was like as soon as he stepped into my line, he lost all vision and hearing except for the area that contained me and the line. Finally, it's his turn to order, and only 5 people are behind him, and he orders a Whopper. My dumb self looks for it on my screen. After a minute of looking, I realize, wait, McDonald's doesn't have Whoppers. That's Burger King. So I tell the man, you're thinking of Burger King. And he just goes, what? He's confused. I tell him we don't sell Whoppers. And he just stops for a minute. And you could see his brain erasing the counter like he had had a malfunction and was now rebooting. Then he looks me in my eyes, and as if the last 5 minutes didn't happen, says, well, are you gonna get me my Whopper or what? And he sounded a little angry. I wanted to yell at the guy, like, we don't have Whoppers. We are McDonald's. But I'm sure he would have had another malfunction if I had. So instead, I suggest a Big Mac. And he is livid. No, I want a Whopper. I tell him he needs to go to Burger King for a Whopper. And he says, get me my Whopper. Like he couldn't understand a word I was saying to him. So I asked him to describe what a Whopper was, because I was just going to pick a sandwich that was close and switch a few things to make him think it was a Whopper. The guy very angrily says, it has meat, lettuce, and special sauce. Now, I don't know what's on a Whopper. I've never even had a Whopper. But what I do know is that what this man just described was a Big Mac. But me, being the great employee that I was, did not say a word. I rung up the Big Mac and said it was a Whopper, at which he replies, finally, what, have you been deaf for the past 10 minutes? I wanted to tell him off, but my paycheck prevented me. I thought I was done with this guy, but a few minutes later, the person giving people their food calls out his number. He gets his food, and she says, enjoy your Big Mac, sir. He turns around and starts yelling, I told that idiot to get me a Whopper. What the hell is this about a Big Mac? I want my money back. And he throws the food back at the counter. My coworker, not knowing what to do, calls for the manager, and I'm like, no, my paycheck. She comes and asks the guy what's wrong. Dude points to me. I told that idiot to get me a Whopper, and he got me a Big Mac. I could see her getting a migraine going through the same thing I went through not 20 minutes ago. And she does the exact same thing I did, except she was able to make sure nobody told him that it was a Big Mac. I'm glad I never had to deal with that guy ever again. It was another time where it wasn't even the customer that was giving me a hard time, it was my manager. And it was near the end of my working for McDonald's. My manager, we'll call her Miss Duck, was apparently bipolar that day because she told me to do about 50 things that day, and just as I was about to finish them, she told me not to do them. A few tasks she had me do I actually was able to complete, but she never failed to get upset that I did them. I think she just wanted to write me up for not doing my job. Anyways, she was starting to annoy me. Each time I completed the task, she yelled and sometimes slapped my hand, and I didn't appreciate that because I'm not a small child. You don't slap my hand, especially when I was doing what you told me to do, and I already didn't like this manager prior to that day. She always used to tell everyone that they couldn't keep me and this other girl in for as long as they did because it was 1 o'clock in the morning and we had school. But she was not fooling anybody. She could have let us go at any time. She was the only manager there and was the only reason we were there past schedule. Now, I could understand if we were packed with people and had no one to work the register, but it was 1 o'clock in the morning. No one wanted McDonald's at that time, and we had two other people up front that could have easily handled it. I can only remember one time when she had an actual good reason to keep us late. Only one. But back to the story at hand. Needless to say, being treated like a kid didn't rub me the right way. So I did what any good worker would do. I rung up 100 McChickens and left amongst the chaos. I'm kidding. I would have gotten sued for that. I confronted her about it because it was my last day and I didn't care about an extra $7. I told her not to slap my hand and to stop treating me like a kid. She told me she would treat me like a kid if I kept acting like a kid. Now, I do tend to goof off when I have literally nothing to do, but that night I had been completely business and was in no way acting like a kid. So I rephrased what I said and told her that if she didn't treat me with respect, I was going to walk out and not come back. She didn't know it was my last day. Only 3 managers knew. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. She said, "I don't care, go ahead, we don't need you," and walked away, which was a blatant lie. I kept that place together. I was the best cashier they had, and I'm not exaggerating. I was the fastest, most accurate, and nicest person there. But she didn't say anything to me for the rest of the night. She didn't even come up front where I was, which was also kind of annoying because people tend to look to me for advice when the manager wasn't around. So I was basically a mini manager for the rest of the night. Anyway, that's a few stories about when I worked at McDonald's, like 3 I think. I hope you enjoyed them. I definitely have more, but those were just the most interesting. Alright, bye.